All right, let's talk about a word that most of us think we understand, and then let's turn it completely on its head. We're going to talk about responsibility, but probably not in the way you're used to. We're going to look at it not as a heavy burden, but as a kind of sovereign grace. So, I want you to do something for me, just for a second. Say the word responsibility out loud, or just think it. Now, what's the first thing you feel in your body? Not what you think, what you feel. I'm going to take a guess. It's probably something like this, right? Your brow furrows a little bit, maybe your shoulders tense up, you might even hold your breath for a split second. It's this weird, almost universal reaction, this physical tightening, a feeling of seriousness and weight. And that feeling right there, that heaviness, that brings us to our first big idea, what I like to call the trap of seriousness. Why is it that we automatically connect being responsible with feeling so, well, so grim? I love this quote. It's from Baron Munchausen, and it really hits the nail on the head. It suggests that our default serious face, that look of intense concentration, might actually be getting in our way. What if that grim expression isn't a sign that we're handling things, but a sign that we're missing the point completely? For most of us, this is the lens we've been taught to see responsibility through. It's this grim duty, right? You just have to accept your limitations like they're set in stone. You have to patiently endure whatever life throws at you. And you have to carry this heavy, constant sense of guilt for how things are. Does that sound at all familiar? Yeah. And think about how often we hear someone say, "You've relaxed too much," as if relaxing is the arch enemy of being responsible. But what if we've got it completely backwards? What if the real problem isn't that we're too relaxed, but that maybe, just maybe, we haven't relaxed enough to be truly responsible? Now, that question, that's where things start to get really interesting. It gets to the very heart of this. So let's try to redefine responsibility by exploring this new idea, the feeling of control. So here's the new definition we're going to work with. Responsibility isn't about the weight of your duties. It is the internal feeling, the deep belief that you are in control of your own life. And that last part is so important, even with its limitations. This isn't some fantasy about being all-powerful. It's about having real agency within the real world. And here's the twist, the beautiful paradox. That feeling of being in the driver's seat, that's exactly what allows you to relax. Real control doesn't create tension. It gets rid of it. You know what makes us tense? Helplessness, not responsibility. Of course, this immediately brings up that classic chicken and egg question, right? Which one comes first? Does feeling in control make you relax, or does being relaxed help you feel more in control? And you know what? The answer is yes. It's both. They feed each other in this incredibly powerful, positive loop. Okay, so this whole idea builds into something that on the surface might sound like a contradiction. But if you stick with me, you'll see it's actually a deeply liberating paradox. Think of it like a mental balancing act. On one hand, you have to completely and totally accept the reality of the things you cannot change. That's the foundation. But at the exact same time, on the other hand, you have to maintain total confidence in your own ability to move toward your goals. It's not one or the other. You have to hold both of these truths at once. You see, that old, heavy view of responsibility, it forces us into what the Greek myths call a Procrustean bed. That was a bed where if you were too short, you got stretched, and if you were too tall, you got cut. It's a rigid, painful, one-size-fits-all model of hopelessness. This new idea is the complete opposite. It's flexible, it's adaptable, and it's incredibly empowering. So when we bring all of this together, when we combine the feeling of control with this liberating paradox, we arrive at our final idea, the very title of this whole explainer, the grace of responsibility. So this is the journey we're talking about. It's a huge shift. We're moving away from seeing responsibility as this heavy burden of guilt and just grimly waiting things out, and we're moving to a new understanding. Responsibility as a liberating sense of control and the deep relaxation that actually comes with it. And that, right there, is its sovereign grace. Sovereign meaning it comes from you. It's not a duty someone else puts on you. It's a powerful, elegant state of mind that you grant to yourself. It's the freedom that comes from knowing you are in charge of your own path, no matter how bumpy the terrain gets. So I'll leave you with this question. Look at your own life, your job, your relationships, that project you're working on. Where do you feel that tension, that furrowed brow? And how could you reframe that? How could you turn that responsibility from a source of weight into the very thing that gives you permission to finally, truly relax?